Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of the St. Louis Spirits video series thing. My name's John Fleming once again, and here are the stats for the 1984-85 St. Louis Spirits. I have one game left in the season. The reason that I kept it short of the completed season is I kind of wanted to show everybody what the court looks like, what the kind of in-arena experience looks like just in person. And luckily, the last game of the season is a home game. You can see here that Hakeem Olajuwon, whose name I changed to Hakeem rather than Akeem, only player that's played in all 81 games so far. He's not injured, so he should play in the final game as well. His team's leading scorer with 19.1 points per game. Andrew Toney's number 2. Not surprising that those are the top 2 guys. Antoine Carr is maybe a little bit more of a surprise for anybody who actually committed this roster to any kind of memory at the beginning. But I actually signed him during the season. He was a free agent. I traded away a backup and got Antoine Carr, who's probably a little bit of an overpay, but it was a 1-year contract. I was still under the salary cap, so figured why not, try to build something up. Hakeem led the team in rebounds, more than doubled the amount that Kurt Rambis had. And Kurt Rambis' rebound total is actually pretty profoundly interesting considering he only started 5 games all season. Assists, Mike Evans is the main guy, John Sundvold. Blocks, probably not surprised that Hakeem's the guy there. Actually, number 2 in steals as well. So that's, 15 and 66, you can see in the bottom left there is the record of the St. Louis Spirits. Power ranking is 24th, and there are 24 teams in this league. So my dog is running around right now around me, so if you hear a dog, if you hear a bunch of jingling, no concerns. I just have a dog who's coming up and wants to say hi. But as it stands right now, though, I'll just show the playoff picture screen. You can see that by a decent amount, this is the worst team in the East, but tied with the Kansas City Kings, who are going to end up in Sacramento next year. So, state of Missouri not really bringing a whole lot as far as really anything in the NBA. But, I think this is a team that does have some interesting young pieces. I wouldn't go so far as to say that I feel like this was a successful season, but, I feel like there are things to be happy about here that I'm pretty excited about kind of going forward. So I want to pull up the stats again to kind of look and see what any kind of advanced stats say. Even though these advanced stats didn't really exist in 1985. So it looks like by player efficiency, there were 2 above average players because 15 is average. Olajuwon and Toney, absolutely not a surprise there. I'm a little underwhelmed by Toney's season. You look at his stats and, kind of drops across the board. I thought that actually his numbers would pick up, not because I thought he was going to take a step forward in his ability, but just because, he's not playing on a team where he's competing with Julius Erving and Moses Malone for shots. But, it is what it is. And, hopefully in the offseason we can get better distributors around him, and maybe Toney and Olajuwon can be the the basis for a genuinely good team. Estimated wins added, kind of the equivalent to wins above replacement type stat. And it's Olajuwon and Toney by a mile. Antoine Carr, who, he's 22 and was decent. And honestly, I wouldn't be opposed to bringing him back, but based on the fact that his relations say outraged, based on his contract thought saying there is no way I'm re-signing with this team after the season, I don't suspect I'll be getting him back, but if he were open to it, I would consider it. But other than that, not really spending a whole lot of time worrying about these guys. But let's get to this game. Looks like the Bucks are 47-34. I go to the Simcast. Going to simulate through most of the game. I'll drop in the fourth quarter, really whether the game's close or not. Typically, I only jump in on close games, but this is the final game of the season. It does not look like things are going well for the Spirits. All right, and the Bucks have possession, which is annoying to start out. So there are era filters where it kind of like blurs what the screen looks like. I just don't like them at
There's
all. I
31
think they look
seconds left in the
terrible.
fourth quarter.
And like to the extent that
Johnson
they
can't
make
get it to go.
the action look more like an actual NBA broadcast from the 80s,
It's
I
Evans
don't
on the
want that.
wing.
I want things to look
Moncrief
clean.
defending.
And like I'd rather emulate the experience of like being at an NBA game. It's going to look a
Evans
lot
kicks to
closer to
Tony.
what reality is.
Pass
All
to
due respect to
O'Connor.
like smokers in the building or whatever.
And down
All
it
right, so I got a little
goes.
dunk
Jamming
there.
that
It's going to be a
one
nice
home.
Great job
probable
finishing
final
that
shot of the
play
season
off.
for the
Yeah,
Spirits. Man,
very
I love
secure.
that
One
logo
court
on the half
using
court. I think it
both
looks
hands.
great. I think this is going to be really fun to play on this court once this team is any
And
good.
so it's the Bucks
And
taking care of
Sidney
business in
Moncrief
this one.
dribbles it out.
They
Bucks
played
get
as well
the
as you can
victory.
play
They
on the
are
road.
headed to the playoffs, and we are not. We'll see what happens with the worst record in the league title. But yeah, Elijah and Tony were the leading scorers, so kind of more of the same there. So I believe that the way that the lottery works out, and we'll get to it once it shows up in the off season, but that the 8 teams that didn't make the playoffs will have even odds, and it's just randomly drawn for the 8 teams. So there's really no incentive at this point to not try to just win games. I actually think that this wouldn't be a bad way of approaching the lottery in like the current NBA. It would really kind of avoid tanking in the sense of like you want to make the playoffs, right? Like you want but if you don't, it's not like bottoming out really has advantages. So anyway, Magic Johnson, MVP for the second year in a row. A second year in a row, at least in the sim. I don't remember who was the MVP in 1983. I don't think it was Magic Johnson. I want to say it was like Moses Malone or somebody, but yeah, let's see. So yeah, MVP twice, couple NBA championships, couple Finals MVPs, 5-time All Star. He's well on his way to becoming the best player of his generation. Rookie of the year is Akeem Olajuwon. So shout out to our guy here. He beats out Michael Jordan for the title, who I remember I checked his stats before, and he was definitely scoring more, but Hakeem was more of a defensive presence, certainly more of a rebounder as well. So yeah, 19 points, 11.6 rebounds. I'll take it. John Stockton wins 6th Player of the Year as a rookie, which is fun. Not too bad stats. Hakeem wins Defensive Player of the Year. Awesome. That's a lot of fun. I don't think this will be his last one if he could win as a rookie. John Sundvold wins Most Improved Player. Usually in these games, if there's an expansion team, like Most Improved almost always goes to a player on the expansion team because it's inevitably just a player that just plays more. And in this case, his numbers actually did not go up like crazy amounts. So I think he was averaging 7 something for his rookie year. Yeah, 7.7. His field goal percentage went down. His 3-point percentage is about the same. Whatever. I'll take it. Brad Nelson, a.k.a. Pat Riley, gets Coach of the Year. Jaden Woods, a.k.a. Red Auerbach, gets Executive of the Year. Wonder how Casey Jones, the coach for the Celtics, and Jerry West, the chief executive for the Lakers, feel about the fact that they're not getting the recognition here. Oh, well. All-NBA first team. We have Magic and Isaiah Thomas as the guards, Larry Bird, Dominique Wilkins as the forwards, and there's Jeff Rulin, the guy who there's a reason the Bullets took Michael Jordan rather than taking Hakeem number 1. One, the fact that it's Michael Jordan, obviously, but also having a really good center in there, probably pretty nice. There's Michael Jordan All-NBA second team, which is interesting. He obviously didn't get Rookie of the Year, but probably a little bit easier to crack as a guard, especially in this era of basketball than in one of the center spots. So it's Michael Jordan and Gus Williams. Alex English and Mark Aguirre get the forward spots. Then Ralph Sampson gets the center spot. All defensive first team. We have 2 rookies on there. So we have Sidney Moncrief and Michael Jordan, Buck Williams and Herb Williams. And then there is Hakeem the Dream as the center. And then the all defensive second team, Magic Johnson, Michael Cooper, Kevin McHale, another rookie, Charles Barkley, and Ralph Sampson. All rookie first team up. Obviously stacked. This is positionless. So you have Hakeem, Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley, Jared Jenkins, who went 7th, and then John Stockton. All rookie second team. We have so this guy often does well, but I honestly don't know how his name is pronounced. Pasike Garay, maybe. Alvin Robertson, Michael Cage, Kevin Willis, Otis Thorpe. And yeah, that's the All NBA team. So the Lakers and the Pistons are the number one seeds. Yeah, so the Jazz made noise last year, as the Celtics. They're both the two seeds. Let's just sim the playoffs, see what happens. Actually, I'm just going to point out that Washington is they had the number one pick last year. Now they're the four seed. That honestly, they could be dangerous, but probably not going to build up too much more. So let's just simulate this through. And it's, Lakers and Celtics in the finals. Celtics get it in 7. Larry Bird gets MVP of the finals, 24.1 points, 7.6 boards, 6.4 assists. Good field goal, free throw percentages. 3-point percentage is pretty bad, but honestly, he's probably 1 for 5. I'm just going to check the override player page, see if there's anybody else who arguably should have gotten it. So it looks like Bird was the leading scorer. I mean, honestly, if you were going to give it to somebody other than Larry Bird, you would probably give it to Magic Johnson in a losing effort. And I think the stats, I would say Magic had better stats, but I get why you would go with the guy who was on the winning team if it's not just an absolute blowout. So let's advance and let's go to player retirements. So quite a few retirements here. So we have Elvin Hayes, who is a legitimate, legend might be a little bit extreme, but a Hall of Famer. So really good player. Jared Antetokounmpo, a definitely real player who definitely exists, and isn't just some weird function of mixing a first name of an NBA player and a last name of an NBA player. You have Paul Westphal, a couple other guys here. Harvey Catchings. Let's see if there's anybody else. So that's the full list of guys who retired. Elvin Hayes might end up in the Hall of Fame, but that's, I assume, going to be it. Staff retirements, we have Brandon Jones, Sidney Farmer. They're both listed as head coaches of the Kings. I'm not sure who actually was the head coach, but they were pretty bad, so probably not a huge deal. And then Clarence Bogdanovich, who's listed as the head coach of the Knicks, is also retiring. Hall of Fame, Elvin Hayes. Jersey retirement, Paul Westphal is getting his jersey retired by the Phoenix Suns. All right, sure. Yeah, why not? Let's check out the historic changes. So all lottery picks are done via random weighted draw. So that could have a huge impact on us. And in addition to the all lottery teams will have equal odds, because basically we'll have a 12.5% chance of drafting number 1 overall, but we'll also have a 12.5% chance of drafting 8th overall. And this is an interesting draft. There is depth. I think that really any of the spots we're going to get a good player, but obviously I'd rather go earlier if possible. Team branding, relocate and completely rebrand the Kansas City Kings to the Sacramento Kings. Yeah, I mean, that's just, a thing that happened in life. I know that the Kings were not drawing especially well in real life in the 80s, which is not surprising. They were a terrible team. I can't imagine they were drawing too well in this fictional universe either. Bulls are changing the uniforms. Lakers floors changed, and then the Nuggets are changing both. So a lot of rebrands going on. I'm wondering, so I wasn't alive whenever Missouri had an NBA team. I assume that the Kings probably drew some fans, at least from middle Missouri, like Columbia. And I'm wondering if that just now means that St. Louis kind of becomes the de facto NBA team of Missouri now that the Kings are in Sacramento. I'm really not sure. I would guess that there will probably be a decent fan base in Columbia, and that Kansas City probably mostly won't care, but some people will root for them, kind of like how the Chiefs are in St. Louis, in the NFL today. But maybe if we get really good, we'll pull out more bandwagoners. It's kind of what the Chiefs pulled off. So move through, go to the league meetings. Yeah, approved the draft lottery changes. There was a proposal to put 13 players from each conference to be named to the All-Star team. I don't care. Changing the time the offense is given to advance the ball to the court to 6 seconds. I mean, it's 8 seconds now. I assume it's 8 seconds at this point. I honestly don't remember, but probably not a huge game changer in terms of the flow of the game. And then here's a change that I'm never going to approve, at least as long as there were real life players in the draft classes, which there's draft classes up to like 2030 something on here. So it's going to be a while. But players will not be eligible for the entry draft until at least 3 years removed from high school or an international player 21 years or older. Yeah, skip through it. All right, let's watch the draft lottery. Let's see how this goes. It's exciting times because we have 8 teams, all with equal odds of winning the draft lottery. Fingers crossed. This whole Pacers as the pick here is irrelevant. Knicks fall to 8th. This is the draft they famously went to first. So let's see. Okay, the Kings go 7th, so we're in the top 6. That's pretty exciting. I don't necessarily have like an exact number of like, this is an X player draft or whatever, but higher better. Mavericks go 6th. That's cool. Top players in this draft are going to be. It's a, kind of a weird comment from the reporter considering the Mavericks were a playoff team, but okay. Let's see here. There we are. We're 5th. So this is a draft where the top 2 players are the guy that went number 1 overall, Patrick Ewing, and then Karl Malone, who was drafted later, but certainly those are the top 2 guys you would think in this draft. I wouldn't say no to Ewing, but at this point, Malone would make more sense to pair with Hakeem. I think the 2 center thing would work, but it would kind of limit like how much you're getting out of. Probably, I would imagine Ewing would be the one that plays the 4 at that point. Okay, so the Sonics are going 3rd. Pacers went 4th. Let's see. So this is going to be between, it was the Hawks and then who the other one? The Warriors and the Hawks. So let's see who is going to go number 2. It is the Warriors. So the Hawks will have the number 1 pick. They have Tree Rollins at center, but he's a little older. I would imagine they're probably going to go Malone, and I would think the Warriors would just go Ewing, even though like Joe Barry Carroll's decent. But regardless, we got the 5th pick. We're kind of that's fine. It's I guess technically slightly below like the expected value of it or whatever, but I'm not going to get too upset. Number 5 is not too bad. Signing, I'm not going to fire any of these guys. Obviously, not a great season overall, but I can't blame Michael Stover, who's obviously a god with all these ratings. But I'm not exactly blaming him for the fact that this team didn't make the playoffs. I'm blaming the fact that they were they were an expansion team. It's not like I was going all in for the first season. So let's just send to the draft combine. So unlike last draft, they're actually going to have some guys who have been scouted already. So I like to scout the guys who are at the top of the class, even if I don't have a very, very top pick. Because, like, even though, like, Patrick Ewing probably is going to end up going before I go, if it turns out that he's just, like, an absolute, like, behemoth, I might want to trade up. So, and if I'm going to take that kind of risk, I'm going to do it towards, high-end guys. So, the guys that are Bs or B minuses, you have 4 invites left. I'm going to look at the guys who are high up on these rankings. Michael Adams. Yeah, let's go Michael Adams, Terry Porter, Joe Dumars. I have 1 invite left. Detlef Schrempf wouldn't be a bad one. Let's look on the projected picks. AC Green is up there. AC Green, I got to be honest, I can't imagine taking him at number 5. Like, he's a good player, but I can't really imagine a scenario where he becomes, like, awesome. Let's check what his he's not even listed as having a comp, but I can't imagine it's anyone too awesome. So we'll go ahead and put Detlef Schrempf because he's at least a guy who could end up being exceptional. Michael Adams is 78 overall. That's pretty good. So let's check out the scouting reports. So Ewing's an 83. Oh, wow. Okay. So yeah, Ewing's the only one that's not a perfect fit in terms of, but like, yeah, I'm going to get a 3 or a 4 in all likelihood with these guys. Not thinking I'm going to draft up or trade up for anyone just because, I'll settle for any of these guys. So we have Julius Irving as a comp for Xavier McDaniel. Patrick Ewing is Kareem. Chris Mullins is John Havlicek. These are pretty good comps here. Karl Malone, they don't have a player, but they do say Hall of Fame. Wayman Tisdale is Dave DeBusschere. Charles Oakley is Hall of Fame. Dave Cowens for so my God, all of these, Bob Cousy for Michael Adams. This just seems like an absolutely absurd draft. Moncrief for Dumars. Yeah, there's some stars here. I could see potentially lurking around to trade back up again. Depending on who's left, I would even consider maybe trading down a little bit. But depending on what kind of offers are being made, because it really does come down to what teams are willing to set up. So let's go to the NBA draft. All right, so the Hawks are on the clock. The Hawks select Patrick Ewing. Not too surprising. Warriors take Karl Malone. Okay, so the two best number of people in the media suggesting that Malone is a second round talent. Yeah, I don't know. Look, I'm all for being a Karl Malone hater, but like, come on. The Sonics take Xavier McDaniel, who I don't remember if Xavier McDaniel was drafted by the Sonics, but he was definitely became like had his best years with the Sonics. Pacers take Sabonis. That's interesting. I mean, he never played for them, but Domantas Sabonis, his son, has played for them for. So I think Mullen is the guy with the highest rating. It would also create like a secondary scoring threat to go with Tony, which is appealing. Got some kind of demerits here. A lot of good players right around here. Who are my other picks? I just want to see this. Okay, so we have the first overall pick of the second round, and then the seventh pick of the second round. Could still get some decent players here. Could use those honestly to trade back up. But I think for now, I'm leaning to. Let's see who the mock drafts have us taking. I'm just curious. They're saying Michael Adams. That's. I don't think that's going to happen, but good player. But I don't know about a 5'10" point guard when there's potential Hall of Famers here. I'm going to go ahead and take Chris Mullin. I think that's just the what's the LH? It says listed height. So is there variance in his height? Because all these other guys, their listed heights are the same. But then Chris Mullins is 6'5". I don't know. Whatever. I'm sure he can play the three even if he is 6'5". Not a huge wingspan. Not honestly an amazing. I mean, he has good defensive actually numbers. Yeah, Chris Mullin. I'm not gonna think any further. All right, so let's see what the Mavericks do. They're gonna take Tisdale. Might sit around and see how the power forward train goes. Nah, never mind. The Kings took Charles Oakley. So, and then the Knicks took Michael Adams. Rockets, Terry Porter, Joe Dumars to the Mavericks. This is actually going like pretty reasonably, I think. So here's the draft summary so far. The thing is, I want to sim like a little bit through, but I don't necessarily want to sim all the way to my picks. Let's just kind of rapid fire here. John Battle, whoever that is. I know I was kind of making fun of the AC Green thing, but actually went at a pretty reasonable time. Detlef Schrempf, obviously, kind of a, I don't know about bargain, but okay. So let's see, because so the Pistons, so we're 3 picks away. Let's see who's still available. So most of the guys at the very top are, so Tyrone Corbin is a C plus, but he plays the same position as Chris Mullin. So not necessarily somebody that I'm just like dying to take. Yeah, I'm probably just going to, simulate these couple picks. Blazers are making a trade for Artis Gilmore. Interesting. Spurs take Mario Elie, who had a long run with Spurs. So Tyrone Corbin actually, in that spot, not crazy. Spud Webb would be an interesting pick. He's kind of the chalk guy here, and obviously is a famous player. Reggie Theus is his comp. Not much of a defender. That is a concern. Obviously, he's being short's kind of his famous thing. But I mean, looking at these guys, he's really the only one that there's any chance of becoming like a starter, I think, because I can't imagine any of the other second round guys like John Konchak, like no disrespect, but like probably not going to be eclipsing Hakeem. Tyrone Corbin, probably is quite good, probably isn't going to be eclipsing Chris Mullin. So I'm going to take Spud Webb. have a pick in a little bit. So Mark Akers, Keith Lee. Huh. Okay. So most of the guys I was like actually looking, Tyron, I was hoping Corbin was going to fall to me. We have 11 trade offers, bunch of second round pick offers. I'm probably not going to trade for just like a lateral second round pick move because I'm still at a point in the franchise where this could be an actual impact player. Joe Klein, yeah, this is a starter. Only has 2 weaknesses listed. Seems like a guy who's probably not going to be great, but probably could be a decent backup center. I'll go ahead and just take Joe Klein. All right. I don't need to watch the rest of this. Just sim to the end. Okay, so rookie signing. Yeah, all those guys will be signed. 275 overalls in the second round. That's not bad. I'm pretty pleased with that, honestly. And then Mullins a 79. So team options, we have an option on Douglas Wood, who like even on this team barely played last year. So we'll send him packing. Basically, all the team option guys in this draft are guys who were second round picks last year. I'm going to guess that the free agent class probably is not going to be particularly strong. Oh, I can qualify offer Antoine Carr. That is interesting. 733. How much money do I have? That's the question. How much money do I have available? Hard cap room's 2.4 million. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and extend the qualifying offer to him. That's not too expensive. Still going to kind of look around and see what is available. Is that Alvin Robertson available? That's weird. He was the 5th overall pick last year. Not sure if they just soured on him or what the deal was there, but yeah, it looks like Antoine Carr is like the best player available. Yeah, if he takes the RFA deal, I mean, he's being offered minimum deals, so presumably he's not looking at that. Though if he wants to sign a $90 million or a $90,000 offer sheet, I think I might match that one. Not too concerned about that. Yeah, power forward is the big kind of elephant in the room here. Mike Evans seems like a player that I should probably look at shopping because I think between Sunvold and then Spud Webb coming up, I can't imagine he's going to get a whole lot of shine. I guess I could have been trying to trade him during the draft, but there weren't necessarily any players I was in love with. Also, he's making league minimum, so I could see him being appealing. I could see somebody offering like a first for him. Probably not a great team. Okay, the Bucks are offering an 88 first. Bulls, who are not particularly good, offering a first. Kings have a top 3 protected in 87. That could be a very high pick based on how bad they've been. I'm gonna have to keep that one in mind. Let's look at the rest of these rosters. I'm always tempted by these unprotected picks, but the thing is, if it lands in the top 3, like, yeah, then I don't get a top 3 pick, but then I get their pick unprotected the next year. And at that point, I'm pretty content with that. Let's go ahead and make this draft. We'll make this pick. Did that go through? Did I press buttons too quickly? I think I did. Okay, yeah. That trade is completed. My right hand is currently asleep, so unfortunately, I'll be kind of slowly meandering here. So, small forward, have Terry Tyler, Chris Mullin. Presumably, he's going to start because I can't imagine any of these guys taking that big of a step. I wouldn't mind getting Mike O'Koren out of there because I don't think he's going to do much, and he's making 244,000. Terry Tyler, though, 400,000. Not, I believe he's a player that I signed. I believe he's a free agent that I signed. So, let's see what's available there. I don't want to trade a first round pick in any context, really. Let's see. Nothing too great going on here. There was one trade in there that I thought was, a lottery protected Spurs pick. That could be of some use. What was the other? There was another first round pick one. Okay, this Bucks one. It's top three protected. I don't really need a center, but I also don't need Major Jones. So I'm going to go ahead and make this trade. Paul McKeskey's not going to do a whole lot for me, but he's going to, become a free agent soon enough. So yeah, at this point, we need a power forward. I mean, Rambis, wouldn't be horrible, but not probably the ideal pick. Honestly, Joe Klein could end up getting like a decent number of minutes. We're going to need a power forward, but I'm going to go ahead and let things kind of land and say, well, there's not really any awesome players necessarily available here. You can't even afford like these top tier free agents, which honestly is fine. The guy that I most want here probably is the guy that I offered the RFA contract to, which is Antoine Carr. So let's see what happens here. I don't want to renounce his rights. That seems like a problem. We can renounce the rights to Tiny Archibald and Douglas Wood, but Antoine Carr is still. Let's see what his offers are looking like. Yeah, he's still getting minimum offers. I'm actually not even sure if this whole renounce rights screen thing actually matters, but I'm just nervous about it, so I'm going to just keep selecting it. Yeah, looking at the roster size, we have 13 total players. Yeah, if we could add a 14th, could eventually. Okay, this is still very strange. I believe Antoine Carr will be back, is my understanding of how this will work. Unless somebody starts making an actual serious offer for him. Okay, accepts qualifying offer worth $733,000. I thought it was lower than that, but I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Player progression. Yeah, Hakeem Olajuwon is becoming a legit star. Sunvold improved. Antoine Carr's up to 79. Okay, we're. I'm not sure that this is like a great team, but I think this team is like definitely going to be better than it was last year. Starting lineup with Hakeem. The oldest guy in the starting lineup is 27. This could be interesting. This team could cook a little bit. I kind of would rather have like a true shooting guard as a backup, but honestly, like between Mike O'Koren, Alvin Scott, one of them can log the minutes. I mean, honestly, Carlos Clark, who played a little bit last year, probably could too. But, we'll see who's available in free agency once the season starts. Let's build the Summer League team main. Let's try to, put these guys in a position to be interesting. We're not going to have Hakeem, but have Chris Mullen, John Sunvold, Spud Webb. Interesting roster here. So you need to get another point guard. I like to sign guys who have the system match thing. At least guys who are like on the first page of guys who are available. I don't want to go too crazy, but Lamont Dennis, you're probably not going to play very much, but that's fine. Cedric Toney, undrafted free agent, interesting. I actually might look at him. Steve Harris is a 19-year-old undrafted free agent. I don't know where he came from, but he's a guy who's at least on the radar. Kenny Green. I think some of these guys are just like NPCs that were created. Get Ralph Lewis. And now with power forward, we're going to be, I don't want Irvin Rollins, I want Christian Ball. Okay. This team seemingly isn't very good, but also I don't think a lot of other teams are really like giving sincere effort. Get one more center. Daryl Lockhart. Was he a guy that I drafted last year? That name sounds familiar. Maybe, but he didn't play at all for the Spirits. Let's go ahead and simulate this. Looks like, where are we? The 9th seed. So we didn't get the bye, but we did play the team that was like the worst. And they got eliminated by the Cavs, who ended up winning the Summer League. Let's see if this game was close. No, not really. But, guys got reps. That's nice. All-Star games in Philadelphia. That's perfectly okay. 1986 draft. So I'm just gonna select the first one I can find, but I may have to like kind of like look through here with a more of a fine tooth comb in a way that's honestly kind of boring. So I'll spare putting it on the recording. But there's a real problem with drafts that include Len Bias. Not that he's included. I don't think that's a problem. I think that's actually like kind of neat because it does kind of show like what would happen if. But I think some of them are a little bit afraid of like even considering the possibility that Len Bias would be anything other than basically Michael Jordan. So I'm looking for the first 19. So I'm not opposed to him being in the draft. I just don't want him to be like an unstoppable like machine. I'm gonna I'll choose this one and then I'll just kind of dig in. We can replace these at the main screen, so I'm not too worried about that. Power ranks 22nd, so we are no longer predicted to be the worst team in the NBA. So that is a start. Yeah, I don't know if Pete Verhoeven getting minutes is necessarily a great indicator, but yeah, if I can get a shooting guard, let's see who's available as a like a league minimum type guy. Not a whole lot. Howard Carter actually wouldn't be too bad. Played a little bit last year. 160K. Okay, I don't have 160K. Will he sign for the minimum? I'm guessing he probably won't, but I'll give it a shot. He does not. See if Kevin Williams is up for it. Probably not. Nope. Steve Harris is a guy that I had in the summer league. Nope. Cedric Toney was another summer league guy. Yeah, honestly, probably not even going to bother. Let's see. I know there's a screen that I can see what guys demand their expected contracts are. Yeah, I mean, it just doesn't seem worth it to sign like a small forward that I'm having a fake shooting guard because I already have guys who can do that. So I'm just going to omit that for now. I'll just leave the extent of space that I have. We'll try to run we'll see what happens if we run a 9-man rotation. Small forward is a little bit underrepresented, but honestly, let's check the positions of these guys. So Mike O'Koren plus Mullen. Tony's 6'3", so I get why that would not necessarily work. Yeah, I think we're going to have to just kind of ride that one out. But honestly, I don't think this is too bad. I think that you have a like two potentially really good players in the starting lineup, along with a lot of competence. Plus obviously a guy like Chris Mullen, I expect is going to grow and improve. Let's check the contract extension, see if there's anyone that's extension eligible that's interested. John Sundvold's refusing to re-sign, which he's from the Kansas City part of Missouri, so I'm going to blame that. Rambis is refusing to resign. Not that I'm really wanting to resign him anyway. These small forwards are willing to resign. Carlos Clark, for some reason, is being obstinate, but yeah, not exactly looking at getting any of these guys right now. I'm hoping the team morale improves this year because I do think this team is going to be better. But for now, not going to spend too much time looking at it. So looking at prospect scouting, yeah, Len Bias, then Brad Doherty, Chuck Person, Ron Harper. Wait, wasn't Sabonis? Sabonis was drafted already, right? He was the Pacers got him because I'm not. Yeah, okay, yeah. So we'll have to find a draft that doesn't have Arvydas Sabonis or just delete him. But that'll be a thing that happens. But I'll worry about that off screen. Let's see who the let's look at the power rankings and see who the teams that are predicted below us are. It's like the Knicks and the Pacers. Okay. The 2K Sports rankings that often do show a bias towards big market teams have the Knicks 12th, whereas the other two guys have the Knicks, or Eric Bonish has the Knicks 23rd. So yeah, there does seem to be some variance there, but we'll figure that out down the road. Yeah, I think that this team is set up to be at least interesting, and hopefully we'll be good. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and call it a wrap on this particular episode. Thank you to everybody for watching. Go ahead and hit like and subscribe, all that stuff. And maybe we'll have some meaningful basketball this season. I still think they're probably a little bit short of a playoff team, but only one way to find out.